Okay, guys, welcome to session 2 of working with division facts. Okay, this is for our lesson 12 multiplication and division facts. Last time we did our first lesson within this, and it should have been a review. This one also might be kind of a review for you, so it might be a little bit easier. But let's dive into it. So, to start with, I want you guys to get a piece of paper. If you have things to use as counters, you can do this, but on your piece of paper, whiteboard, whatever you want to use, I want you guys to make an array showing 4 times 5. And then under it, write the multiplication and division equation to represent the array. Okay, so hit pause, work on that. This is your bell work. When you're done, go ahead and hit resume or play, I guess is what I should say. And then we can keep going. So now that you've done your bell work, we are going to try this problem. I will read it out loud to you since you guys aren't here. Joe knows nickels are worth 5 cents, and she needs 40 cents altogether. She wants to find how many nickels she needs, so she writes 40 divided by 5 equals. So now we need to try and find out how many nickels does Joe need. So before you start, let's look at the bottom right-hand corner of this and think about what is the problem about? What are we learning, or what are we reading about here? Nickels, right? I think that's what you're going to say, that Joe needs to know how many nickels make up 40 cents. And so that's what we're trying to find out, how many nickels she needs. So think about what information is important. What information here do we need to know that'll help us solve this problem? Once you've kind of thought about those questions, we're going to move into you guys working the problem out. So we need to find 40 divided by 5. If we don't know it right off the top of our head, we need to maybe write out draw out is what I should have said, all the 40 nickels. That might take you a minute. And then separate them into groups of, I want to see if you guys remember it, groups of 5, okay? So you'll separate them into groups of 5, and then you'll see how many groups that you have all together. So click pause. Work that out. When you're ready, hit play. We don't have partners right now. Maybe if you have a parent with you, you can do this part where you could tell them what strategy you used and tell them how you started. If you are working on this alone, then we can just keep going. All right. That's the discuss it part. So here's a way. This is just a strategy that you can use. I'm sure some of you guys maybe use the grouping strategies. But here's another one that we could start using in our multiplication and division problems. So here's a number line that we are skip counting by 5s to 40 because we know that we have 5s in that 40 divided by 5, right? So we could start at 0 and jump by 5s until we get to 40. And every jump we can count 1, 2, 3 until we get to 40, which would be 8. So we know 40 divided by 5 would equal 8 here because we used our number line. So this is one strategy you can use. I know in class we've used arrays and groupings, but just here's another one to keep in mind as we work through these division problems and multiplication problems. Number lines can be helpful as well. Okay, so let's look at this fact family, these fact families. So if we know multiplication facts, those can help us in our division facts like we've talked about before. So here are the facts to this family. So 5 times what equals 40? We already figured that out, right? When we did 40 divided by 5, we found 40 divided by 5 equals 8. So we know in each of these boxes, the number 8 should go there to finish up the fact family. That means that if we do 5 times 8 equals 40, then we know 8 times 5 also equals 40. If we know what 40 divided by 5, if we know that that equals 8, then we know that 40 divided by 8 can equal 5 as well, okay? So, and then in the blue box in the middle, these are the multiplication facts for 5, just the number 5. So that means it's 1 times 5, 2 times 5, 3 times 5, and so on, okay? If we have these memorized, it can help us with knowing our whole fact family and learning our division facts as well, okay? So look at the one that has the numbers you know from the fact family, 5 and 40. And I already gave you the answer, so never mind, don't do that. Okay, here we go. So now I want you guys to make connections and explain your thinking. I'm going to have you guys do this part on your own since this is kind of a review, but I will read each of the questions. After I read the question, just make sure you pause the video, and then when you're done, you can go on to the next. So question number 1, Mo wants to know how many nickels he needs to make 45 cents. He writes 45 divided by blank equals 5. What other division fact can he write to model this problem? Now let me give you a little hint for this one, you guys. If you go back here, you'll be able to find it. What times 5 equals 45? Okay, so hit pause, start working on that. Number 2, write the 2 multiplication facts that are in the same fact family. Use blank for the unknown number, okay? So after you find that number in number 1, then you're going to come to number 2 and write the 2 multiplication facts. So pause it and go for it. When you're ready, hit play. Number 3, look at the list of multiplication facts for 5 on the previous page. So this page, right? You guys should have that in your packets. Which fact will help Mo answer his division problem? How many nickels does Mo need? So at this point, you guys should know this. You should know how to find it. If you haven't, hit pause to find it. Now, number 4, explain how you know which multiplication fact you can use to help you find the unknown number in the division fact. Again, take your time, pause the video, and write it down. Okay, we are not going to worry about that part. So now we're going to apply this. So the number line, right, we talked about, use the number line to solve 24 divided by 4. So this means that we will be counting by 4s instead of 5. So you would have to fill in the number line going from 0 to 4 to get up to 24. I will help you out here. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. I was hoping maybe you guys could help me out. 24, okay? Make sure you count up from 4 to get your numbers. And this is our new strategy of using the number line. If you need to go back to previous pages to see how that was done, you can. Okay, and here is this one. Write the unknown product. Okay, the unknown, and Chase knows this one really well. The product means the answer to our multiplication problems. Okay, so write down the answer to this problem and then complete the fact family. Now, just a reminder, every fact family has 2 multiplication problems and 2 division problems. So hit pause. When you're ready, you can keep going. Now, last but not least, you are going to write 2 multiplication facts that Bryce can use to solve this problem. Blank divided by 3 equals 7. What 2 multiplication facts would help us out with this? I'll give you a hint. We know that 3 times 7 is 1. Okay. Now, this is a reminder, when you are finished with your packet, make sure you take pictures of your finished pages and you email them to me so I know that you've done it. You guys are awesome.